Yo, what's up, guys? Joel Hoffman here, coming to you straight from the underground motivation, lifting people from rock bottom. So I wanted to tell you guys a quick story about maintaining a positive perspective. So lately I've been having a tough time with these videos, man. My video software, it hasn't been working right. My microphones, they're supposed to be all badass wireless mics, they've been messing up. And I'm not a computer expert, guys. Like I haven't went to school for any of this shit. Most of the stuff that I learned from Google, YouTube, and it's a learning curve for me. You know what I mean? So it's not always easy. So whenever I make content and something gets messed up, or my mic messes up, or I can't convert it the right way, like it's very frustrating to me. So it's hard to keep a positive perspective sometimes. So it made me think about a story of whenever I was 19 years old. I used to manage 2 Verizon kiosks in Grapevine Mills Mall. So these kiosks, they were on one side of the store and the other one was on the other. I think like 5 and 7, something like that, 4 and 6, something like that. So I had about, 8 to 10 salesmen that worked for me, and we would stand at the store, about 3 or 4 people at a time, and we would talk to people, try to get everybody's attention that were walking by and sell them a phone, right? So what happened is that the people that were working in one location were constantly coming back and saying, oh man, that location sucks over there. There's not as much foot traffic. It's quiet over there. It's boring. We can't sell anything over there. It sucks, man. So this became like the norm. This became the culture that the store over there sucked. So a couple weeks went by and I'm trying to tell him, man, that doesn't matter. So I had to prove it to him. So what I told him is I said, I'll make you guys a bet. I'll work over there by myself in the shitty store with no traffic for 2 weeks by myself, and I bet that I'll sell more phones than all you guys. Y'all all can work over at the store with a lot of traffic. Y'all can work out over there and I'll sell more phones than all you guys put together, and I'll be over there by myself. They looked at me like, man, you're crazy. That won't happen. That's impossible. You don't get enough traffic over there, blah, 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 blah. So to make a long story really short, that's exactly what I did. I worked over there for the next 2 weeks and I sold more phones than them. But here was the trick, guys, is that I didn't have a negative perspective about it. Number one, I looked at the ways that it could be more advantageous to me, of ways that I could take advantage of the situation, even though, yes, there was a little bit less traffic and there wasn't so much loud, rambunctious energy and music from the different stores going on. But what that allowed me to do is it allowed people to hear me better. And it made it a lot harder for them to ignore me whenever I was trying to get their attention, because you know how it is when you're walking through the mall and that person's trying to get your attention to sell you something, and you're like, oh shit, pretend like you don't see them, right? So that's exactly what I did. But whenever the music isn't very loud, then they knew that they could hear me. They knew that I knew that they could hear me. And if you just ignore somebody like that, knowing that they know you're trying to get your attention, then that's very rude, right? So they didn't want to be rude, and a lot of times they would break down and, talk to me and give me the time of day, right? But on the other side of the store, it was very easy for the people that were walking by just to pretend like they didn't hear you and ignore you, because it was so loud and rambunctious that a lot of people were walking by and it was very easy to be ignored. So what I did is, number one, I had that positive perspective and I looked at the way that I could take advantage of it, right? Then number 3 is I put in the work. I talked to everybody that went by, just like I trained my employees to do over there. I talked to everybody that went by. So after that 2 weeks was up and I went back and I sold more phones at them. They're looking at me like I'm crazy. And they were like, how'd you do it, man? How'd you do it? It sucks over there. And I told them exactly like I told you. And I was like, guys, you got to shoot your shot. You got to take advantage of every opportunity that you got. If you have a negative perspective about something and you think that you can't, that it's not possible, that's always what you're going to get, right? So all their culture of thinking that they can't do it over there, that bred through all the other salesmen, and that was the way that they thought, and that's exactly what they got. But once I showed them that was possible, those were like, man, they were like, oh shit, I want to go over there too. Put me over there. I don't want to be over here. There's too much competition. Put me over there. Put me in the other store. So you see how whenever their perspective, and then they went to the other store and they did good, but you see how their perspective changed, and then their environment changed, and everything changed after that. Once they changed their perspective. So a lot of times in this life, I might see it in the sales world, business world, whatever company you're working in, the culture, and definitely in the addiction world, that these people will sell you their weaknesses and they'll give you a negative perspective, and it's hard to maintain a positive perspective. but that's exactly what you got to do. If you maintain a positive perspective in life and you maintain a positive perspective, then that's what you'll get. You'll figure out a way to make it happen. Just stay focused on finding the solution to the problem. So me right now, my microphone's messed up, my editing's messed up. Like, fuck it, I got to go back to the original. It doesn't matter if I have Hollywood production or not. Like, I got to get my message across because there's somebody out there that might need this. So whenever the world comes your way and all these people are trying to tell you of all these different reasons of why you should be negative, I want you to do the exact opposite and think of all the reasons of why you should be positive. Whenever they tell you of all the reasons of why you can't, think of all the reasons of why you can, because you are a winner, you are a champion, and you got this. Don't let anybody sell you their fucking excuses. Don't let anybody sell you their weaknesses. If I believed what everybody told me, then I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be shit. I'd be in dead or in jail or living on the street, but I'm still here, guys. It's all about having that positive perspective. So today, whenever that negative son of a bitch in your head tries to tell you some negative bullshit, or the environment around you tries to tell you some negative bullshit and ruin your positive outlook, you look them in the eye and you tell them, fuck that. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes to reach my goals. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this money. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get sober. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my kids back. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my own place. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get off probation. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a promotion at my job. I'm going to do whatever it takes to become a successful business owner. It's all about doing whatever it takes with that positive perspective. Because if you have a positive perspective and you believe that you can, then you're willing to write that check. Then you're willing to write that check for whatever it takes. But if you don't believe that you can and you have that negative perspective, you're not going to write that check because you're not sure if it's worth it. But I'm going to tell you, if you believe that you can, it will be worth it because you can make it happen. Don't let those people tell you shit. You go make it happen. Make sure you stay positive today and go do whatever you need to do to live your motherfucking dreams.